Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less. McKeown, Greg. Have you ever ended a day completely exhausted, having said yes to 10 different things, and yet somehow feeling like you accomplished nothing that actually mattered? That's not a time management problem. According to author Greg McKeown, it's a decision-making problem. In his book, Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less, McKeown argues that the reason so many capable, driven people feel stretched thin and unfulfilled isn't that they need to do more. It's that they've never learned how to do less, but better. Today, I'm breaking down the entire framework of this book, the mindset, the method, and the practical tools, so you can actually apply it, not just nod along. Let's get into it. Section 1. The core idea. Less, but better. The whole book collapses into one sentence, which McKeown borrows loosely from a 15th century design philosophy. Less, but better. Most of us live as what McKeown calls non-essentialists. We operate on the unconscious belief that everything is important. Everything is urgent. I can do it all if I just manage my time better. Saying yes is polite. Saying no is risky. The problem is that when everything is treated as essential, nothing really is. You end up spread so thin across so many obligations that you can't go deep or excel at any single one. McKeown calls this the undisciplined pursuit of more, and he argues it is quietly one of the most common causes of burnout, mediocrity, and a nagging sense that your life is being lived by everyone except you. The essentialist, by contrast, doesn't try to do more things. They try to do the right things. Instead of asking, how can I fit this in? The essentialist asks, is this the very most important thing I should be doing with my time and resources right now? That single question, asked relentlessly, is the engine of the entire book. Section 2. The paradox of success. Before McKeown gives you the how, he explains why this trap is so easy to fall into, even for high performers. He calls it the paradox of success, and it goes like this. You have clarity of purpose, which leads to success. That success gives you a reputation for being reliable and capable. That reputation brings you more options and opportunities than you can handle. Your time and energy get spread thinner across all these new options. This dilutes your effort, which, ironically, undermines the very clarity that made you successful in the first place. In other words, success can become a catalyst for failure because it creates so many good opportunities that people lose the discipline to say no to most of them. This is why the book isn't aimed at underachievers. It's aimed squarely at capable, ambitious people who are drowning in good options and have never learned to distinguish good from vital. Section 3. The 3 realities behind essentialism. McKeown builds his philosophy on 3 underlying truths. Understanding these reframes your entire relationship with your time. Reality number 1, individual choice. You always have a choice, even when it feels like your boss, your family, or your circumstances are choosing for you. You are the one choosing how to respond. Non-essentialists forget they have a choice at all. They start to see themselves as a product of circumstance. Essentialists reclaim the fact that choosing itself is a skill, and it's theirs to exercise. Reality number 2, the prevalence of noise. Almost everything in life is noise, not signal. Only a small fraction of what competes for your attention is truly vital. Because almost everything is noise, almost everything can be safely ignored. But non-essentialists never develop the filter to know which things. Reality number 3, the reality of trade-offs. You cannot have it all. You cannot do it all. Every yes to one thing is a no to something else, whether you acknowledge it or not. The non-essentialist asks, how can I do both? The essentialist asks the harder, more honest question, which problem do I want? because you can't solve every problem, but you can choose which one deserves your full effort. These three realities are the philosophical soil the rest of the book grows out of. Section 4. The Essentialist Method. Explore, eliminate, execute. McKeown structures the actual system of essentialism into three phases. Think of it like a filter that everything in your life has to pass through. Explore. Discern the trivial many from the vital few. Eliminate. Cut out everything that isn't essential. Execute. Make doing the essential things almost effortless. Let's go through each one. Section 5. Explore. Discerning the vital few. You can't choose what's essential if you're constantly busy, distracted, and reactive. So the explore phase is about creating the space to actually think clearly. McKeown highlights several practices here that seem counterintuitive to a productivity book. 1. Protect time to think. McKeown argues that unstructured time to explore, question, and reflect isn't a luxury. It's the foundation of essentialist decision-making. Without it, you're just reacting to whatever's loudest. 2. Get enough sleep. This might be the most subversive chapter in the book. Non-essentialist hustle culture treats sleep as the enemy of productivity. McKeown flips this. Sleep is what protects the asset that makes all your other assets possible. Your mind. An exhausted brain cannot tell the difference between what's vital and what's merely urgent. 3. Play. Play, unstructured, purposeless exploration, expands the mind's options and sparks creativity that rigid, overscheduled lives crush. It's not a distraction from essential work. It feeds your ability to identify what's essential in the first place. 4. Selectivity, the 90% rule. This is one of the most practical tools in the book. When evaluating any option, decision, or opportunity, score it from 0 to 100 on how important it is. If it doesn't score above roughly 90, treat it as a 0, an automatic no. This closes the loophole of good, but not great options that quietly eat your life. McKeown's phrase for this is, if it isn't a clear yes, then it's a clear no. No more maybe. No more let me think about it. Ambiguity is where non-essentialism sneaks back in. Section 6. Eliminate, the art of saying no. Once you know what's vital, the harder skill is cutting everything else, gracefully, but firmly. This is the section most people find hardest to practice, even if they intellectually agree with it. Key ideas here. Uncommit from things you've already said yes to. McKeown argues sunk cost thinking traps people in obligations, projects, and relationships long after they've stopped serving a real purpose. Essentialists are willing to admit a past yes was a mistake and reverse it. Edit your life like a writer edits a manuscript. A good editor doesn't just add, they remove. They cut a beautiful sentence if it doesn't serve the story. McKeown asks readers to apply that same ruthless editing instinct to their calendar, their commitments, even their relationships. Set boundaries before you need them. Boundaries aren't walls that keep opportunity out. McKeown reframes them as what actually creates the freedom to pursue what matters, because they remove the constant negotiation over your time. Say no without burning bridges. This is the practical heart of the chapter. McKeown offers several graceful no scripts, such as separating the decision from the relationship. It's a no for now, not a no to you. Using humor to soften a firm no buying time with let me check my calendar and get back to you, instead of an instant yes, saying yes to the person, but no to the specific request. The core insight. Every time you say yes to something, you are saying no to something else, often something more important that you haven't even identified yet. Learning to say no isn't rude. It's the price of admission for saying a wholehearted yes to what matters. Section 7. Execute. Making the essential effortless. Knowing what's essential and eliminating the rest still isn't enough. You have to actually execute, and non-essentialists often sabotage themselves here through inefficient, high-friction systems. McKeown's execute phase is about designing a life where doing the right thing is the path of least resistance. 1. Build in a buffer. Non-essentialists chronically underestimate how long things take and get blindsided by friction. Essentialists build in generous buffers, extra time, extra margin, so that unexpected obstacles don't derail the vital few priorities. 2. Remove obstacles before they happen. Instead of pushing harder against resistance, McKeown advocates identifying the single biggest obstacle standing between you and your goal, and removing that, rather than trying to grind through everything at once. 3. Start small, minimal viable progress. Borrowing a page from Lean Startup Thinking, McKeown suggests starting with the smallest possible version of progress to build momentum, rather than waiting for the big push. 4. Build routines that make execution automatic. Willpower is a depleting resource. Routines convert essential actions into automatic behavior, so you're not relying on motivation every single day. As McKeown puts it, the routine does the remembering and the deciding for you. 5. Focus on what's important now. Rather than a rigid 5-year plan, McKeown encourages a simple, repeated check-in. Given everything you know right now, what is the most important thing you could be doing right now? This keeps execution adaptive instead of robotic. Section 8. Why this book resonates. Here's what makes Essentialism different from typical productivity advice. It's not about squeezing more into your day. It's almost the opposite. It's permission granting. McKeown is essentially telling high achievers, you don't need to do more to be more. You need the courage to do less, but to do it exceptionally well. This lands hard for people who've built their identity on being the reliable yes person. The one who takes on the extra project, mentors everyone, never turns down a request. McKeown's argument is that this pattern, while well-intentioned, actually dilutes your impact rather than expanding it. A fair critique to mention. Some readers point out that essentialism is easier to apply if you already have a degree of privilege or autonomy. A shift worker with no control over their schedule can't simply say no to their manager the way a startup founder can. McKeown's framework is most directly applicable to people who have some discretionary control over their calendar and commitments. Knowledge workers, entrepreneurs, and leaders. That doesn't make the philosophy less valuable, but it's worth acknowledging that the how of saying no looks very different depending on your circumstances and power in a given relationship. Section 9. 3 takeaways to apply this week. If you only remember 3 things from this whole video, make it these. Ask the calibrating question. Before agreeing to anything, ask, is this the very most important thing I could be doing right now? If it's not a clear yes, treat it as a no. Practice a graceful no this week, just once. Notice how uncomfortable it feels, and notice that the world doesn't end. Protect 1 block of unstructured thinking time in your calendar this week, even 20 minutes, before you fill your schedule with more urgent tasks. Essentialism isn't a productivity hack. It's a complete shift in how you filter your life. Less noise, fewer commitments, deeper impact. If this breakdown was useful, let me know in the comments which idea hit hardest. The paradox of success, the 90% rule, or the art of the graceful no. And if you want more deep dives like this on books that actually change how you think, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.